Hundreds of protesters have taken to the streets of Leeds city centre to march against the so-called bedroom tax, which came into effect at the start of April. The spare room subsidy, to call it by its official title, which implies this is not a tax, but instead of changing benefit payments, is set to affect almost 700,000 households in the UK. This change to housing benefit entitlement means you will receive less in housing benefit if you live in a housing association or council property that is deemed to have one or more spare bedrooms. Having one spare bedroom will mean you will lose 14% of your entitled housing benefit. Having two or more spare bedrooms will mean you will lose up to 25% of your entitlement. As a result of this, thousands of families are having the foundations of their home life completely altered by either losing between £40 and £80 a month or having to move to a smaller property altogether. Sarah is a single mother from Hare Hills. Like many in a similar position with one or more children, she is directly affected by the change in housing benefit.
It's a sham. As a mother of three in a 3-bedroom property, I'm being forced to downsize, only to be rehoused again in 3 years, when my children are going to have to legally live in separate rooms. Whichever way you look at the options, there's no way around the fact that I'm going to have to bring up my children in another place and that it's somewhere that they haven't called home. It just makes life so hard. I'm being forced into a corner and I've got to move all my benefits around and I just can't make them stretch to pay for this room tax. In 3 years' time when my children have to be in separate rooms, how easy is that going to be for them to rehouse me? Why would they bother disrupting a family who were just sort of getting by only just to rehouse me again in 3 years' time?
And it's not just single mothers being affected by the so-called bedroom tax. Fathers are also a victim of this Conservative reform.
Yeah, being a single father without retaining any legal custody of my children does leave me in a complete mess, yeah. My daughter lives with her mother. We have an agreement that she can see me out every other weekend. But if I got a bedroom which I keep spare for when my daughter comes round, but she don't normally live with me, that means that room's considered a spare room, and that means I got to find an extra £22 a week, or I've got to move. In my area, there's thousands of people that will pay for the bedroom tax, but there's only 100 places that they could move. The government knows this. It's kind of cynical how it is. Any calculations of savings assume people just don't move. This doesn't just affect the relationship I have with my daughter, but I've got brothers, I've got sisters, I've got family too. If they want to come visit, I want them to be able to come to our house without me feeling like an absolute lowlife.
You may not be affected if you have a severely disabled child who requires their own room. You may not be affected if you're a foster carer, or keep a spare room for an overnight carer, or have an adult child serving in the armed forces. However, for the rest of the thousands of households without possible reasons for exemption, there stands to be an entire generation of resent against the government who've drastically altered their life at home.